Hello, and thanks for joining us on Africa Independent Television AIT, and welcome to the Signature Show. I'm Mwabueze Njoku. Now, this Sunday, we begin our two-part focus on the challenges to Nigeria's real and full development as a nation capable of developing a caring, functional, and dependable society. We will, in the next two editions of the program, ask the questions: does destiny count in addressing national development? And to what extent can a people cast all their development burdens on God and expect results? Before then, however, there is a complex narrative coming out of Zamfara State. Now, since the Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila visited Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, to hold a dialogue with government officials and commanders of the bandits who have killed over 1,000 innocent Zamfara villagers, there have been doubts if these so-called bandits who could hold meetings with high government officials in the government house are just ordinary criminals. The doubt has even been compounded by a follow-up meeting at the palace of an emir between these same commanders of the bandits, the state commissioner of police, some officials of the Directorate of State Service, DSS, state government officials, and highly placed traditional rulers. Now, after that meeting, the bandits issued a statement that members of those communities displaced by their activities could return to their villages, and that Fulani herdsmen who have been the target of their cattle rustling activities were now free to graze their animals and go to their markets. And indeed, the violence has abated. Now, we on Signature Show, we decided to interrogate this unusual recognition of bandits with Zamfara state government officials. But they have chosen to rather tell us that the new approach is, for as long as it's yielding results, that all that matters. However, we stumbled on a very complex narrative. We are told that for over 2 centuries, bandits have been recognized and accepted as part of the social occupational structure of communities in today's Zamfara, Katsina, parts of Kebbi and Yobe states, and a number of ungoverned communities in the desert fringes of northern Nigeria. These socially accepted, endorsed professional robbers bear arms, live mostly outside of the mainstream communities, are accountable to the traditional authorities, and are allowed in traditional courts and marry the best of women. Parts of the spoils of their raids are used, we are told, to service the opulence of the traditional authorities. What is happening now in Zamfara state, we now got to know, is a conflict between the old order and the current extension of government authority in a complex social revolution in which the bandits are now finding new masters in illegal manners as modern governance is about to make them social and economic outcasts. Now, if this narrative is correct, then the Nigerian government needs to engage our social and history engineers to think out a response that will resolve issues and the contradictions in Zamfara and elsewhere without this very high cost in human lives. Honestly speaking, there's no shame in that. Now, last week in our interview segment, we examined the lamentations of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai. Now, one of our viewers in reacting to that interview, says, and I quote him, please, why does the military announce every move it makes? Air Force has acquired new fighter jets. Army has produced homemade mine defense vehicles. Is this not providing intelligence for Boko Haram and other insurgents on the strength of the Nigerian military? And they don't know what weapon they could go for in attacking our military. That's the end of the quote. Well, unfortunately, this person did not put his or her name to that reaction. But that reaction is food for thought for our security experts. Well, last night in Abuja, visual art was celebrated. And in our next edition of this program, we will bring you how young Nigerians are interrogating issues in our cities using the medium of visual art. But before the celebration of last night in Abuja, we spoke with ace radio broadcaster, a consummate corporate and public communications expert, Kevin Ejiofor, on what is driving this art event and its focus for 2019.
You will not believe the number of art schools turning out qualified artists in Nigeria. Within what I may call shouting distance of Enugu, for instance, there are 18 schools offering art at tertiary level, much different from what it used to be. What are they going to do when they finish? How will they be, especially because the level of appreciation, I use that word deliberately, the level of appreciation and contextualizing of the usefulness of art in our society is still quite low. So this is aimed at empowering young people. In this season when the loud cry is about unemployment and youth who have nothing to do, basically. The second leg of that is that when you need to be there, you need to be there to see when these young people from all over the country, 100 of them land in Enugu, and we take them first on a tour of Enugu, all kinds of places and so on. And in the evening, the judges are from all over Nigeria. The second level is the national integration. Young people get to an atmosphere. They are from Akure, they are from Zaria, they are from wherever. Censor in 2012 won the second prize. He was from, I think he's, to use Nigerian phrase, the state of origin is Plateau. He was based here. He won the second prize. I mean, he didn't know anybody in Enugu. He had never been to Enugu. And last year, Ibrahim Afebua, who went to Auchi Polytechnic, won the first prize. And on the ticket of, I will tell you about that, also attended, and he is now an international figure. The first winner of this prize was Lumide Oreshegun in 2007. He's been on CNN, he's now an international figure. So, empowerment of young people, advancement of their careers, and national integration by the means of this interaction between not just the young people, but between them and the older artists who are now the judges, who come, and the gallery owners who come to look at what's happening, is the soul of this effort.
Now, the Nigerian Hajj Commission has completed the airlift of Nigerian pilgrims to this year's pilgrimage to Mecca. Many state governments, they can tell you, have invested millions, if not billions of naira, to make sure that the Muslim faithful is assisted in performing this necessary religious rite. Now, as the Muslim departed, both the federal and state governments officials charged them to pray for the nation, its peace, its security, and its development. And very soon, another set of Nigerian pilgrims, this time Christian, would head out to Jerusalem and other parts of Israel and Palestine. And as the Christian pilgrims depart. Again, Nigerian federal and state government officials will charge them to pray for the nation, its peace, its prosperity, and its progress. As I said, in 2 editions of this signature show, starting from this Sunday, we will interrogate our national religious attitude to seeking divine intervention in resolving our development challenges. This Sunday, we will raise the question, in building a great nation, how much burden can a people cast on God? That will be in our interview segment. But before all that, let's bring you our special report. Just stay with us.
Before the sun rose this Sunday morning, over 13 million Nigerian Muslims were in their mosques and some in their homes praying to Allah. Among their many requests and supplications is that Allah should look kindly on Nigeria and give the nation peace and prosperity.
We have all the resources it takes for this country to be great.
Our country, Nigeria, is destined to be great if we work. We cannot just be having insecurities. Apart from all those things, we can be great when we work, when our leaders do what they're supposed to do.
The world is changing globally. Today, the way things were last year is not the same this year. Things are changing. So many things are taking place on air now. People are there looking for things to happen. They are on their comfort zone, looking for everything to happen for them. Leave your comfort zone. You will get whatever you want.
In churches across every hamlet, community, and big city in Nigeria today, over 13 million more Nigerians will lift their voices in prayer for Nigerian leaders, the nation, and its people, beseeching God to intervene in the affairs of the nation, lead its leaders aright, and give it peace and prosperity.
Praying does not solve our problem. Praying for Nigeria to be better does not solve the problem we need to solve. We need to pray, you understand? But pray and go out and do what you're supposed to do. Don't depend on that prayer.
You can be great when you want to be great. You can't be great when you don't want to be great. Okay, look at the kind of leaders we produce. Why?
As the nation and its people pray, there is a need to interrogate and resolve some critical issues. What is the responsibility of individuals, families, and leaders in the building of the kind of society they desire for today and tomorrow?
You make a carpenter engineer, a minister of work, you make a lawyer. How do you know when you make a mistake? You are handling this here, I don't know how to handle it. How can I now pick it and start interviewing people when I don't know how to control it? And so on and so forth. What are you praying for?
Former American President Barack Obama in 2008 used his own experience to set out his expected responsibilities of families and players in any society.
When I was a young man, I thought life was all about me. How do I make it in the world? How do I become successful? How do I get the things I want? But now my life revolves around my 2 little girls. They're not so little anymore. And what I think about is, what kind of world am I leaving them? Are we leaving them a country where there's a huge gap between a few people who are wealthy and a whole bunch of people who are struggling every day? Am I leaving them a country that's still divided by race? A country where, because they're girls, they don't have as much opportunity as boys do? Am I leaving them a country where we're hated around the world because we don't cooperate with other nations? Or are we leaving them a country that's in grave danger because of what's happening to the planet? And what I've realized is that life doesn't count for much unless you're willing to do your small part to leave our children, all of our children, a better world.
When we do not work and fail to commit ourselves to earnestly improving our nation, what can prayers avail?
There shall be showers of blessing. This is the promise of love. There shall be seasons refreshing.
and Christians pray from 1960, when I was not even born. They've been praying till today. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened because we have bad leaders.
Is it not given, therefore, that societies that limit their responsibilities and press God to resolve their foolishness, their sluggard way of life, and their refusal to apply their capacity will fit into Donald Trump, current American president's profiling of African nations, a shithole?
Well, let me welcome you to the conversation segment of our signature show. Nigeria as a country is going through difficult times. I'm not the person stating this for the first time. Our leadership, our president, leadership in the National Assembly, our governors, our religious leaders, everybody seems to be agreed that Nigeria is passing through tough times. Now the question is, when a society is passing through difficult times, are there no responsibilities people have to help that society come out of those difficulties? Even in normal development, are there no duties that ordinary citizens should perform to help improve the development of society? Civilizations. Don't people have roles to play in bringing about civilizations? This Sunday, we'll be speaking with men of God, pastors, priests. The reason is very simple. Supplication seems to be Nigeria's answer to every of its challenge. Pray that the nation may know peace. Pray that the nation may develop. Pray against insecurity. Pray against underdevelopment. Maybe I'm not quite right. I'm not an authority to speak on these things. This Sunday, I have with me Pastor Martin. I think along the line, Pastor Martin will give us his full names. We came to him because he is a priest of the current generation, of the current thinking, of the current order. Pastor Martin, let's welcome you to our conversation.
It's a pleasure, sir.
Let me ask you a simple question. Has the individual any role to play in building his society?
Yes, thank you so much, Chief Mwabweze Njoku. As he has rightly said, my name is Pastor Martin Jomeyo Irorigoyibi.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Thank God I did not hazard the pronunciation of that name.
It's difficult to be,
I'll try along the line.
Yeah. Martin Igoyibi. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm also a chartered economist. And I am a pastor, the senior pastor of Divine Heritage Christian Church. Now back to your question. You see, God created this earth, delineated nations, peoples, and gave governance to his people. And also created us with wisdom. That is the reason every one of us have brain, so that we can think for ourselves. We should seek for knowledge and know what to do. So in terms of nation building, God will not come down and build a nation. It is the people that will build the nation. It is the individual that knows what he needs and set forth to do what is right, so that he can create a conducive, a peaceful, and a buoyant environment for himself. So individuals, yes, have enormous role to play in national building and development.
You know, I began this conversation by raising doubt. Some of my colleagues, some of those watching, may say, no, this man is not a believer. If I go to 20, 30 churches in Nigeria today, each of the congregation will be asking God to kindly intervene and save insecurity, save national challenge, save a possible calamity. Even when politicians are busy debating and the country seems to be on the brink, the ordinary person goes to church, goes to mosque, and say, God, help us that this country should not scatter. Of what consequence is that kind of prayer?
Well, there are prayers that God does not answer, or God does not answer. There are prayers. What are those type of prayers? When you know what to do and you decide not to do it, God leaves you to your faith. There's a scripture that says, he that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is a sin. So God looks at you as a sinner. You know what to do. You refuse to do it. It's just like somebody having waterlogged area, bushy environment, and then you have mosquito infested room and house. You didn't use mosquito net. You have malaria. You say, God, heal me of malaria. Yes, God may heal you, but he expects you that next time you should know what to do. So prayer alone does not solve the problem of a nation. I would say prayer may contribute to about 25%. But God wants you to do what is right. God will give you peace. He will give you health. He gave you land. He gave you the technology. But he will not send angel to plant the crops for you. He will not send angel to harvest it. He will not send angel to set up businesses to process them. He has given you the money. He will not send angel to teach you how to use them. So when you know what to do and you are going to mosque and you are going to church and you are not doing it, God only laughs at you. Listen to me. There is a popular scripture in the Bible, Deuteronomy 28, that opens, because almost every church and everybody quotes it for blessings. But we should not forget that it opens with a verse that said, if you do what is right, you obey what God says, then you do what is right. So when you know what is right and you didn't do it, schools are dilapidated, teachers are not well paid, and you expect that God will come down and impose super knowledge on the children, it is not possible. Let's say country like Nigeria, killings are going on everywhere. Nothing is being done or substantially done to stop it. And you say, God, come and stop the killing. It does not work like that. So God gave us responsibility at creation and after creation to do what is right. The question is that, do we know what is right? Yes, we know what to do. But we have allowed our heart and our sense of personal aggrandizement and interest to overshadow our sense of responsibility. That is where the problem is coming from.
Now, please, I'm picking on that word responsibility.
Yes.
When a society fails to discharge its own responsibility for its development, for its own security, for the welfare of its members, what kind of consequence does that society face?
Very fatal. It is suicidal. Chief, let me ask you one question. We are in a country where we may know what to do, but we decide not to do it. I've often asked this question. Do we have the statistics, for example, of how many graduates come out of the higher institutions in Nigeria every year? Do we have accurate unemployment rate or employment rate? Do we actually have accurate statistics that border on the demographic structure of this country? Do we know how many children are being born every day? Countries that want to develop are countries that have accurate, up-to-date information about the people. You want to create employment for how many people?
And what kind of
employment? It's not just enough registering a place that says go and register, we'll give you 30,000 every month. Is that what actually will bring development? It is laudable. But what I'm trying to say is that, do we have information? We live in a country in which if census comes today, national census, somebody will count his goats and count his plates and count his houses as human being. The National Bureau of Statistics, for example, If you go there and say, give me the number of unemployed people, do we have it? Is there any system where they are registered, where they are listened to, whereby if you come out from a school and you've not got a job in the past 2-3 years after graduation, the government knows about it? I don't think so. Do we have actual statistics of how many people die every year or every month in this country? Today we hear of killings everywhere. We don't even know who we are catering for. So governance is about knowing the people you are governing, what they are facing, and then you share responsibility, you do your part, and educate the people on how to do their part. So the responsibility is not in the hands of God. It is in our hand. Doing what is right. God will not come down and do road for anybody. He has given you the land. He has given you the stones. You have the sand. He gives you the technical know-how to produce cement, to produce bitumen. There are able-bodied men available to do it, and you are praying, God, give us good roads in Nigeria. It will not happen. When somebody like the Nigeria society, where we have public officers or civil servants that work and retire. Now this man has spent all his years serving the government. And then by the time he retires, to get his retirement benefit, some of them die queuing up. Some of them from one verification to another. There is no system to actually verify that immediately this man retires, this is his money in 2 weeks. And you are praying to God to come and help us. So how will that person, when he's in service, not think of securing himself now by illicit fund that doesn't belong to him, because he knows that by the time he retires, he may never get it till he dies? I taught my congregation some few months ago that the difference between a successful nation and a backward nation, a developed nation and undeveloped nation, a successful person and a backward person, is the sum total of the differences in their strategic thinking. America is great today, they think where they do the right thing. Britain is great today, they think where they do the right thing. China is great today, they think where they do the right thing. Singapore is great today, they think where they do the right thing. Look at what Ethiopia is going through now. Transformation. Look at Rwanda. It's not prayer. Prayer is good. God encourages. I'm a pastor that prays. But there are many things God will not do for us.
There are many things God will not do for us. Thank you very much, Pastor. I'm still coming. If you go to Amute Parks today, people are embarking on journeys.
Yes.
They are afraid of being kidnapped. They are afraid that the roads are bad, there could be accidents. And somebody sits down immediately and raises his voice in song. Thereafter, and that person begins to pray against blood-sucking demons that could cause accident on the road. Against the spirit of kidnapping. I'm not being ridiculous. Can such prayer avail people anything?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Talk to me.
You see, God hates oppression. And God defends the oppressed. These people praying this prayer, they don't have the power to do the roads. They don't have power on their own, poor people, to fix the hospitals. They don't have the power to change so many things. So all they can resort to is the God who will not neglect them because their leaders have neglected them. Their leaders have neglected them. So when they are praying against blood-sucking demons, those blood-sucking demons could actually be the leaders who have neglected them. That is it. Recently, I read in the news that some senators and top government functionaries have started going through the railway from Abuja to Kaduna. Why? Because the rate of kidnapping on the Abuja-Kaduna road has skyrocketed. If few kidnappers can render a nation helpless, place us under distress, where are the soldiers? Where are the security forces? We are not talking of pan-Nigeria. We are talking of just a stretch of road. People that are supposed to fix these things are dodging it. And you pray, God, come and arrest kidnappers. How now? When you have the power to arrest them. How many are they? We are talking about Fulani herdsmen. We are talking about banditry. What is the percentage of those people troubling us compared to the percentage of the population and the soldiers and the armies? And you say we don't know what to do, and you are praying to God? You know what to do. We know it. So negligence of the right thing to do is our bane. It's our bane. Negligence of, go to higher institutions and you see students standing up to receive lectures, and tomorrow you want them to be responsible scholars. How does it work? As we are talking today, we don't have a national carrier in Nigeria. There is nothing like public sponsored transportation system any longer, because even the government-owned transport lines, most of the buses there are individually owned, that they just register under the aegis of the transport companies of the states. Therefore, they still charge as much as others. So who will help the people? That's why they run to God. Who shows mercy? Who can deliver from oppression? Because those who are supposed to help them have neglected their responsibility. So they have to do it for themselves.
Pastor, I'm not leading you to making a hard comment.
No.
I'm going to ask you a question.
No.
When a leader who has, by the permission of God, gotten into a position of leadership,
yes,
fails in looking after his charge, the people, does it have consequences for him?
Very deadly consequences. You see, leadership belongs to God. It's God that gives power to be a leader. So first of all, the leader is responsible to God, who allowed him to be so. I'm not only talking of political leadership. I'm talking of leadership economically, socially, even religious leadership. Today I'm a leader. I am the human head appointed by God to oversee a church. I'm a leader. I have responsibility to play. I am appointed by God. The first question you ask yourself as a leader is, are you better than the people you are ruling over? Never. The president today, the governors, the senators, they are not the most intelligent. They are not the most hardworking. They are not the most qualified of men. But God allowed them to be so. And to be in such position. So, number one, you should appreciate God as a leader, that God even allow you to be there. Number two, you should appreciate the men who also allow you to be a leader over them. When a leader have disregard for others, the people under you will learn to have disregard for others, whether in the church, in the mosque, in the government, in the industries, or anything. And the consequence is very grave, because number one, God will reject you. In the Bible, we see God rejected Saul. Number two, the people will reject you. It is worse for the people not to be able to protest against you, for example, because they know if they protest, they will be killed. They will be harassed. But they are protesting in their spirit. They are protesting in their mind. They are protesting in their mentality, because they are mentally tortured. And that protest, when they cry to God, the Bible says, God will judge the leaders. So everybody in leadership position has an onus to make sure that what kept you there, which is the people and God, should be respected. And let me tell you, Chief, every leader knows what to do. I will still go back to that. Every leader. When you are appointed as a president, elected as a president, or as a governor, or as a local government chairman, or even as a councillor, you are told this is your responsibility. You swore an oath, I will be liable to the people. I will defend the Constitution. I will protect the people. I will provide for them. I will use their resources to help them. So you know what to do. So the negligence of what to do will lead to grave consequence. Even the conscience alone of that person, whether it is dead or alive, should tell you that you have failed yourself, you have failed the people, you have failed God. And I'm talking of whether you are a political leader or a religious leader like me. And let me tell you that nobody lives forever. The greatest thing we leave for people behind us. The greatest we leave for people behind us. The most important is not property. It's not property. It's not money. Somebody could steal billions now and he dies. Oh, the generation of his children will never suffer. They will suffer. The greatest is a good legacy, a good name, a good will. Somebody could be president for 8 years. After you have left, what will people say? You could be a local government chairman. After you have left, what will people say? You could be a pastor of a church, a leader. You maltreated people and you didn't do what is right. When you have gone, because everybody must die one day, what will people say? They will even curse your grave and curse the generation of your children. Look at all of them that mismanage our resources. Where are their children today? Sir, there are grave consequences. And we can't run away from it.
Grave consequences. I want to cap this conversation. There are accounts to be made in heaven. I don't know where it is. There are accounts to be seen on earth. That is my interest. You go to Germany, as you said, it's developed. You go to US, it's developed. You go to UK, it's developed. As a Christian leader,
okay,
with our underdevelopment of Nigeria, what will you speak to our underdevelopment and what will you say to Nigerian leadership?
Let me come this way. Not too long ago, I was in a country with some few colleagues, not Nigeria. And then there was an outing. And during the outing, almost every street, even in rural areas, the suburban areas, they were seeing street lights erected. But it's a daytime, so they couldn't have been on, switched on. Then one of my colleagues asked the guide that was guiding the tour and said, all these street lights, do they work at all? The guide was a lady. She became very angry at that question. Very, very angry. And asked my colleague, why are you asking a foolish question? Please don't try to ask such questions here again. It's very, very foolish and very insulting. My friend was surprised. He said, what did I say? I only asked whether this light was working. The lady asked back, how do you think the government in their senses will erect street lights that will not work? Chief, do you understand that question?
Taking that service for granted.
Yes.
Ordinary.
He said, do you think a government can come and erect street lights
that will not work?
That will not work? He said, how do you think our leaders are?
But CCTV cameras do not work.
No, what am I trying to say? These are street lights. The lady was angry that it is an abuse. to the integrity
Of
of
leadership.
their leadership. It's an
Because
insult. How will you even
better.
think of that they will do what will not work? Then I say, oh, sorry, we know where you are coming from. Now let me tell you, in our country we have street lights, they don't work. We will have electrical installations, you only see light, although there's improvement now. You understand? We have roads that are not maintained. It's the government that's supposed to have maintained them. We have hospitals. The beds are there, but the equipments are not there to take care of the people. Our leaders abandon them and go overseas to treat even dogs. Not even themselves. He said, that's where we are coming from. So that is why I'm trying to tell you. Leadership is not a position. It is a responsibility. Leadership is not the seat. It's not the nomenclature. It is the weight of the responsibility that goes with it. It's the weight. So what are we going to do? Let us go back. Nigeria always say drawing board. We have drawn so many things on the drawing board and it is filled up. Let us think strategically. Our leaders always visit other countries. What do they learn? We have pastors who visit other countries. What do they learn? We have learned enough. Paul the Apostle told the Corinthians, he said, you have always learned. You have learned enough. Put what you have learned to use. Faith without work is dead. When you know what to do, you don't do it. To you, it is iniquity. It is sin. Let us go back and get accurate statistics. How many people are actually employed? How are the schools working? As a pastor, sometimes some of my members are referred to public hospitals. You get there and say there is no bed space. Go to Asokoro today. Go to Maitama General. No bed space. There are people that actually die because they could not afford the private hospitals. It is not enough, me as a leader, I know this person is married, have children, needs to pay house rent, needs to take care of his health and the health of the family, and every day I'm laying hands, say, be healed, be free, be fed, be clothed by God. It doesn't happen like that. When it is in your power to empower that person to generate income to take care of these things, and then you are crying to God, it doesn't work. So for religious leader, let us do more than praying. Let us do more than preaching. Let us do more than counseling. As much as is in our hand, the Bible says, do good. Let's know those we can actually assist with what is coming to our hands. It will be better for us. We will raise more responsible people. Because I still believe, especially as Christians, we are the hope of this nation. Why do I say so? What we teach the people: to be responsible, to love, to have peace. For example, we teach Christians, somebody will even kill you, and you say, okay, still maintain peace, still forgive. So if every one of us can empower our people as leaders, we will achieve this thing. And when those who don't believe in our faith see the difference in us, they will follow. But when you have a Christian in politics, in the industry, still doing what he knows or she knows is not right, God will not come and force him to correct anything. So, Chief, there is a great responsibility in our hands. Not that we don't know what to do, as I've always said, but we refuse to do it. And the Bible says, he that knows what to do and does not do it, to him it is a sin.
To him, it is a sin. I do not know what to add to this, except to say that those last words are strong and advisory to our leaders at all levels of our society. You know, he says, what to do. Don't harden your heart. Do those right things. Because if you don't, it's a sin. Let's thank Pastor Martin for this conversation. Pastor Martin, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for
My name remains Mwabos and Jock, it never changes. Good afternoon.
My country people, I will welcome una again. Enter the program Corruption Tori. Program where we say shine touch light, put for corruption matter for we country before it disappear, come up for your mind and my mind sake of other things where they happen. My name now for my Igoria say. For this Sunday, we go shine I put for we education sector. I don't know whether you don't hear this matter before. For where person go ask you which course you want study, whether na medicine or I been a law or engineering. If you get money, you fit get that course sharp. Abi, you don't ever hear of ministers list or vice chancellor list anytime when they want to do admission for university. Now, because everybody they find this education of university, now why issue of corruption don't enter and well. So today we go chook I put for the way corruption don't took in one hand enter with education sector and how we politicians self they join hand puts. E get some people wey don't check with university education for this country and they happy well say them see forward movement for we system. The number of universities where we get don't grow 20 times past since we independence for 1960 when this country be get only one university for Ibadan and another polytechnic for Yaba, Lagos. But some experts still come not too happy sake of these days. Then they look some political matter and some people eye before they go build university. License for private university don't sit down for some politicians them hand and now who them like them they give them to. Even safe build a public university now just to yarn say waiting politicians promise when them they campaign make them no talk say them no do them when them enter office.
With what we have in Nigeria today, with waiting we get for Nigeria today, waiting we supposed do not to make we expand all them facilities where they are university them. Some university where they Egypt and Malaysia, student number pass 250,000, some pass 500,000. But the university where big pass for Nigeria, no fit pass 60,000 students. Instead say we go to build new university where money no day to maintain. If for better, make government put better money for the ones we get for ground. All this ICT university, transport university, aviation university, military university, then go even spoil things pass for us, for our education system.
Now, sake of to find political favor or to show we country people say them fit, them just they build university where them not take time to plan well. Them go just carry secondary school building, turn them to university campus, just say make we safe, talk say them don't fulfill promise where them make during campaign time. And then them go just position some universities for where some big oga politicians they stay. Them know they look the place how it go favor the student, whether it go help them learn what they come there for.
In a class that should accommodate 20 students.
Class we're supposed to contain 20 students. Students where they there now fit pass 100. Class go come there like prison. So make federal and state government join hands to make our education system better.
So we need a university in my senatorial district. It will go to my village.
If they say they won't build university, one person go carry that university, go put for a village. That one is corruption now.
Now this political eye service don't open the palaver of no money, when many universities they face so. Sake of them not even plan how the university fit they get money to still they work for future. This one now don't cause them say many of these political universities them no get proper building, things wey students need to learn, even teachers dem no too dey at all like that. People wey dey graduate from this kind university no go come be like say dem finish school sef, sake of dem no get the sabi and skills to hustle for better big economy.
You know the beauty of funding education.
The good news wey go come from when they put better money for education be say e go touch plenty people life. E go bring development. E go bring progress for plenty places.
Still on still, for the hurry wey dem use take do this university dem, government dey sometimes forget to put some kind laws for ground, come dey make the people wey dey graduate from there get illegal certificate sake of accreditation no dey. Some still dey find kurukere way to get accreditation for their courses, like to go dey borrow equipment keep for the school. When the National Universities Commission officers come, they go come check am make e be like say they don ready for the course. The names wey full their staff list of some courses wey dem dey find accreditation for na lecturers wey dey visit from other universities come.
We do not only go on accreditation.
Not be only to give them certificate, say make you start school or one kind course like that. We dey waka go that school, go find out, say all the things they write or tell us for National University Commission, say e dey ground, say they no lie. When we dey go, we dey carry people wey sabi join body, make we take our eye, see wetin dey there.
What actually gives us the greatest worry?
The thing wey dey give us headache pass be say, dem go begin university, dem no go draw plan as dem wan do am. Go look this 9 university dem wey Jonathan government open. Na cry dem dey cry to survive. They no better pass secondary school. Before us you come begin shout, dem dey comot graduates. Still, they no even get law wey say dem be university. They don't carry politics enter university for Nigeria.
There were years gone by, our doctors.
Before countries them, they come Nigeria come look for doctor. Then they come Nigeria come look for lecturer self. But now, if you carry Nigeria degree certificate, come out go abroad, make you do masters, then go they look you somehow, carry you they do yeah. No Nigerian university today fit follow when they count the first 300 university for the whole world.
Apart from the corruption where they scatter the accreditation of courses for university, it still gets the corruption where they chop with specialized universities they go. We go see University of Agriculture where they build to promote correct graduates wey no sabi as them go perfect agriculture matter for this country finish. Them go come they lobby, they beg, they pursue, make themselves open their own faculty of medicine, law, business admin, or even political science.
Each time we try to raise issues.
Anytime where we dey talk, say some of these vice chancellor no sabi anything. Nobody they listen to us. Nobody they hear us. Because they don't settle people where they in charge.
There's a post circulating on WhatsApp at the moment.
You get something where they write for WhatsApp, where everybody they read now. They say if you won't finish any country, pata, no waste time go throw bomb. No go declare war against that country. Just go scatter the education system. Now be say that country own don't pay me.
Well, it happens because probably of the demand for such courses.
This now because minister tell us make we they sure say all the university for Nigeria they teach the kind things where they supposed to they teach. You fit see say university we're supposed to teach technology, they go teach law. Sometimes technology self fit get some kind things where they like law where they inside. Our work now to make sure all them university face the kind of education when they sabi, the one where they right say now that one they go do.
Wetin this corruption they cause they show clear. If them they count the first 1,000 universities for this world, one single Nigerian university no go enter the list. We university system don't lose in respect when it be get before and immediately after independence. Nowadays, country people they spend millions of dollars every year, say them won't go school for abroad.
It means you are relying on other society to develop you. That development will continue to elude you.
Wetin e mean be say you just sit down, dey wait make other people bring better development for your country. E no dey work like that. We must bring our own development. Na we go do am. We need to do better, make people wey get brain fit help bring development. Make we carry all the facility when dem go need come. Water, electricity, laboratory, so we must bring am for them. So make them see wetin dem fit carry work.
Comot for the matter of plenty dollars wey Nigerians dey spend on education waka for abroad. All these academic staff of we universities dem come dey go on strike every time to fight this matter of no money wey dey spoil we university dey go. Equipment no dey on ground for better learning, and all the university buildings wey dem build for Gogorongo, dem don even spoil finish. Shey you can see say no be only the matter of to collect bribe for admission. The building wey dem no plan well, the kurukere accreditation of courses dem for we university join for inside corruption matter wey dey chop we university education for Nigeria, and e dey make am hard make e do the work of development of we country. Now here we go match break put for corruption tori till reach next week again where we go jam. My name na Ufoma Igoriasi. Una bye bye.